Hey, what's up, YouTube? BigH Trucking. Actually, it's been a minute since I've done a video. I just kind of, run out of ideas. What do you talk about that 20 other people from Prime don't talk about, right? So it gets to the point where, do I have, but you know what, there's an audience for everyone. That's, kind of what someone told me. Like, someone said, why aren't you posting videos anymore? And it's just like, okay, I run out of content to do. It's like, you have a following, whatever. I mean, I ain't got a whole bunch of people. But, it's good that you have a little bit of an audience, and it's good to just shoot the shit. So here I am, shooting the shit. It's 10 degrees. I'm in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Delivered tomorrow night at 9:30. Today's Saturday. I got here. Actually, I came out of. Let me lower this a little bit. There we go. I came out of Eastern Maine. So anybody from Prime knows what Eastern Maine is. It's pretty much all the way up by New Brunswick. Basically 3 miles from the Canadian border. So it came from all the way up in the corner of Maine. Came down. Then instead of going 90, there was a big storm coming through. I've been lucky. I'm sick of the winter, but I've been very fortunate. It's either my truck's been in the shop and I bypassed the snowstorm out west or whatever, or I'm able to beat it. When I left Wednesday night, I keep on thinking today's Sunday, and the other day I was looking for my payroll and I found out it was only Thursday. I thought it was Friday. So for some reason my brain thinks I'm a day ahead, when in all actuality I'm not. So anyway, I came out of Eastern Maine to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Left there Wednesday night because there was an incoming storm, which was supposed to be really heavy in the interior part of Maine, and that's exactly where I was. So that winter storm warning up for 1 a.m. to the next day. So, I was able to get my 10 in and bolt down 95. So instead of driving across 90, I went down 84 and cut across 80. So I was able to go from that part of Maine, Eastern Maine, down to the Petro by Pittston Terminal. I don't want to go to Pittston. I don't like my experiences with the terminals always, unless there's a problem with the truck or I'm going on home time. I try to avoid the terminals as much as possible. Nothing against the terminals. They're great. They're wonderful. It's just that every time I go to Pittston, it's just a madhouse. There's no parking. You end up putting your trailer down. When I go to Pittston with a trailer, I'm loaded. I ask them if there's any open work campaigns on the trailer, because there's several times when I've gone, they let me go through inbound, and about 2 o'clock in the morning I get banged on my door and they're like, oh yeah, no, we need to take the trailer. It's like, dude, why don't you tell me that coming through? So I don't want to go to Pittston again unless I have to. It's urgent, like I said, due to repair on the trailer. I'd rather go to the Petro. So that's what I did at Petro. Then from Petro, I did my 10-hour break, and I skedaddled from there to the rest stop on Ohio Turnpike, which is mile marker 20. That's the rest area there, where they have a Sbarro's Pizzeria, Burger King, Starbucks. So I was able to manage to get a whole pie of Sbarro, because I love their pizza, and I'll have it for a course of time over the course of the next few days. Now I'm sitting here at the Quick Trip. Beautiful quick trip. Plenty of parking. I-39, Wisconsin, exit 151. So if you ever come up this way, this is a great place. Plenty of parking, and Quick Trips are the favorite truck stops that I know of. They've got produce, they've got frozen foods that you can bring, bags of potatoes, bags of apples, produce section, dairy section, and everything in between. Whatever you need, they've got. And I wish like Loves did that, and Pilot Flying J. And I told the manager here at Quick Trip this morning, I'm like, guys, I don't know if this will ever get back to corporate, but if you guys decide to ever expand throughout the country, you would absolutely put out of business Loves and TA, and especially TA and Pilot. I mean, they are so far behind the times, and yet they have the audacity to charge you for paid, to park there. Which 9 times out of 10 I don't pay, because there's guys parking on the side, there's guys parking along the scales, and unless it's like in really hardcore area like Tennessee, or I just can't, like Atlanta with the petrol, they'll come around and check. The 80% of these places that request the reserved parking, first of all, nobody goes in there because they're all afraid. But like, I've gone to places where, I'm not doing it. I spend enough in fuel. I always buy food, drinks, whatever. It's like, I support you guys enough. You guys, your parking lots are torn up. Potholes as deep as I am, and I'm 6'3". You don't do any maintenance. The bathrooms are disgusting. Well, truckers are disgusting by nature, but that's another story. Pee bottles all over the place. And again, that's on the trucker. But you know what? Like this Quick Trip, there's no litter. There was a guy outside. It's 10 degrees with a garbage pail and one of those pickers, and he's walking around and picking up garbage. Again, they charge you top dollar. So that's the Pilot and TA rant for the day. And Petro. Quick Trip, I told the guy, expand, because you guys would take over. You take over the industry. The only thing that they're really missing is showers here. I didn't check, but I don't know if there's showers here. But there's everything else. It's such a great, and people are friendly and they're hospitable. You just get a good feeling when you walk through there. So anyway, again, tomorrow night at 9:30 is my delivery. There's another snowstorm coming in tomorrow afternoon, late tomorrow night. They're calling for 1 to 3 inches of snow. It snowed here yesterday, but it wasn't much. They were claiming it was, I was listening to the weather guy on YouTube. I forget his name, Mitch West or something like that. And like, blinding snow, sideways. They're calling for 5 to 8 inches of snow. There's roughly maybe 2 inches of snow on the ground. The roads are clean. It is late in the year now, or I should say late in the season for winter. The sun's high. Yeah, it can snow. It is cold as ice buckets out here. But it's just, the sun's at such a high angle that snow don't really have that on the pavement or on the asphalt. It don't really stick like if it was January out. But I can't wait for winter to be over. It seems like every year since I've been in trucking, the winter just has a stranglehold on you, and no matter where you go, and you're happy when you go down south, you're happy when you go to Georgia, Florida, you don't mind doing that, because then it goes from being really cold, you have to switch into wearing your shorts and t-shirt because it's 80 degrees, and next thing you know, you get a load going west and north, and it's like it's March, and snowstorms are coming, and it's 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 10 degrees. I can't believe it's 10 degrees. It's almost 9 o'clock in the morning. Nothing is melting yet, but the sun is up, and as you can see. So where have I been? I've been working. I know. I definitely feel like everybody else feels that there is a recession in the trucking industry. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. It seems to actually have gotten worse. I'm running. It's not like, like this load should have been delivered today or tonight. So you're on your loads a little bit longer. At least this is my interpretation of it. You're on your loads a bit longer. And the pre-plans don't come as frequently as they used to. There's just a little bit more waiting time. I'm not making the same money I made 2 years ago, or even last year. Last year wasn't a great year, but you got to hang in there. This is not my first run through the mill with a recession or a downturn of an economy. This is like my third or fourth one, and I know things will get better. The good news is the interest rates are going to be cut. The Fed chairman came out and said we're going to do 3 cuts this year, which means it's going to be easier and cheaper for money to flow into the economy, into assets, meaning companies. Most of these big companies that we deal with as a carrier live and depend on borrowing money from banks to expand or whatever. They really didn't want to do that when it's 5-7% interest rates. So that's why we feel what we feel. But again, that's the good news. So I think this will turn around in the next 6 to 12 months. It does take some time for it to hit the population. You know, in the asset classes, like in the stock market, crypto markets right now, that money is starting to come in. And as you can see, all-time highs in the S&P, all-time highs in the NASDAQ, all-time highs in the stock market. Bitcoin just had an all-time high. So it will get better, and you just got to, suffer through it. You got to take the good with the bad. It's easier to, cave in and say, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go over there. No, you just got to stick to your guns, stick to your laurels, keep working hard, just keep your head down. It's just the way our economies are. It's been like this forever, and it's not going to change. I don't care who you put in office. Now, if you want to get a little political, this administration that's in play right now, they are what they are. The next administration, they are what they are. What I always tell people, and again, this is not a political channel, if you want the laws, the people who write the laws are in Congress and in the Senate. These are the guys. You want term limits on senators and Congress personnel? Vote them out. Every 4 years, Congress and Senate, or every 4 years for Congress, every 6 years for the Senate. Get rid of them. Vote them out. Those are the ones that make or break an economy, make and break this country. You don't like what's going on? Forget about the president. The president has no power. The president is just a figurehead, and all they do is sign off on bills. But if Biden had enough pressure on him to do, to conform, believe me, he would, because it's in his best interest to keep his constituents happy. Anyway, vote out your senators and congresswomen that are not doing a good job for your state. Period. The end. Forget about all the other. That's all the other stuff is just dog and pony show. It's hot air. Vote out the Congress and senators in this country, especially the ones that have been around for 30 years. Get rid of them. And here's your term limits. Every 6 years, every 4 years, vote somebody else that has, the country's best interests at heart. And that's what pisses me off about everything. It's that these people who are in power write these laws, again, Senate and Congress, they get bought out, they get corrupted, and they only line their own pockets, and they don't give a crap what happens to the rest of us, and we all feel it. But again, it's not the president. The president, again, is a figurehead. It's a puppet show. Believe me, they get their strings pulled too. Vote out your Congress and senators. That's as far as I'm going to take that. But yeah, like I said, I've been wanting, instead of doing 4 or 5 loads a week, it's down to 2, 3. Like, this is my first one that I'm delivering till Sunday night. What do I got? 1 more left for a pay period. Maybe Prime should slow down on the hiring of new personnel and really start culling the herd. I mean, I hate to say it, but at some point, you got to let some drivers go that are not up to snuff. The ones who are late, the ones who have too many criticals, the ones who have attitudes. Go down, kick rocks. Go kick rocks. But again, I'm not in charge of that, so that that's entirely up to them. But keep us drivers who do good, and there's a whole bunch of us. Make sure those people are running and keep them happy. Get rid of the whiners and the complainers and the do-notters and the ones that cause more grief than good. That's just my theory. But hey, listen, the grass is never green on the other side. I was talking to some guy, Landstar. Well, Landstar works with a whole bunch of it's you've got to be your own dispatcher and they take 37% of your income for the same thing Prime does. Your back office stuff, your IFTA tickets, your permits, your tags, all that stuff. But you know what? With Prime, I got a fleet manager that gives me loads. I don't have to scurry through, I guess, load boards, right? And he's saying that sometimes you see the same load posted 4, 5, 6 times. And then when you call, it's like, they try to knock you down pennies. And you end up running, you can run loads for as little as 75 cents. So Landstar is not the answer. Unless you have, again, there's always exceptions to the rule, unless you have a direct relationship with a broker, that you've been there for a long time, you develop relationships, and he's throwing your business, that's another whole game, right? In this world, I've said it before, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So the grass is never green on the other side. I'm with Prime because you hear it from many people. They've got the freight. They've got the customers. So can you imagine what like Hirschbach and other refrigerated carriers are going through? Because we feel it with Prime, I can only imagine what those other companies must be going through. They must be going through hell in a handbag. Prime's the #1 refrigerated carrier in the country. But nobody's even close. No one's even close. So if we feel it, they certainly feel it. So my advice is this: if anybody's listening who's working with Prime, stay where you are unless something else comes up that's going to benefit you. There's no reason to go to another trucking company. You want to get out of the field and go become a photographer, a journalist or something, that's a different story in itself. Snyder or Landstar or Milton or all these other companies, it's no better there than it is here. This recession is taking out some of the competition. There's still a lot of trucks on the road. Yes, there are people always going to run cheap freight. There's nothing you can do about that. That's their business model. That's what they want to do, run 75-cent loads a mile. Let them. Eventually the fuel prices and the maintenance of a truck will knock them out. But, that's what happens when you have a boom. When trucking became really hot during COVID, everybody and their grandmother went and got a truck. That's why at the end, at the peak, Freightliners were going for $320,000 new. Couldn't even get them. Used trucks with 400,000 miles were going for $180. That's when the peak is here, and we're at the bottom. Like I said, in every market cycle, whether you're in a stock market, whatever, commodities, there's a boom and there's a bust, and we're still hovering on the bottom, and eventually it will turn and work its way up. Just be patient. And like I've said and numerous other people have said in the good times, save your money, because when the bad times come, they come. And you know what? Those $8,000 a week checks, $9,000 a week check, gross, it's not going to be there when that happens. So far in the last year, I can count on two fingers, 2 times in the last year and a half, I did better than $7,000 for the week gross. 2 times. So, again, just listen to the old man, the grumpy old man. Listen to the old man. When the good times come again, save your shekels. Invest. How many people I told about Bitcoin at $5,000-$6,000? Now it's at 64. I'm not a financial planner, and a disclaimer, this is not financial advice, but there's a lot of instruments, a lot of asset classes that have exploded, usually in technology, because that's where we're all headed. Technology. Doesn't cost much, a couple dollars each week. At the end of the day, it adds up to a lot. All right, BigH is out, man. Thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe, as everyone else says. Like and subscribe and share. Do what you need to do. BigH is out. Stay profitable. Stay safe.